hope you guys got that, man, because I had some major interference going on there. Uh, Guys, welcome to the show tonight, man. Welcome to the Lions Den. This is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal with my co-host Irene Tacoma from Tokyo, Japan. How you doing today, man?
Getting on there. I might cough a couple minutes, but it's okay. I'm trying to get
Well,
over this
you know,
cold. But
that's fine. You know, I don't want to punch a person when they're down, but I got to get you.
yeah, blah blah blah.
I got to get you. I have to get
And you know
you.
what? I come back just as hard.
That's okay. That's okay. That's what a true friendship is really about. We punch each other when we're down.
And don't
But
forget, I
anyway,
remember.
yeah. But anyway, I hope you feel better. And man, let's get this party started. Tonight, guys, in the Lions Den, we have Paranormal 411. And the craziest thing about you guys, because I tried to look you up and see where in the hell you guys are located at, but it says it's undisclosed.
Yes.
Right.
Somewhere in time.
Somewhere in time.
Yes, we're in East Tennessee.
Oh,
So
wow.
we're right at the foothills of the Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, if I start talking for a minute, you'll hear the accent. Y'all come back now.
Well, dude, I mean, it can't be no worse than those guys up in Kentucky, man. Those guys are unbelievable. And and it says that people in Texas have an accent, but I just don't see it. I don't hear it.
Right. Yeah. I grew up in Texas. I actually grew up. My mom moved us from here in Tennessee to Pecos, Texas when I was 3. I lived in Pecos up till I was about 9, and then we moved to Odessa. Yeah, so I lived out West Texas for a little while.
Anybody in West Texas got an accent. I mean, I don't understand why anybody want to move to West Texas. There ain't nothing out there.
No, it's nothing.
The
An
tumbleweeds about as big as the car.
Yes. And spiders.
Man,
Big old spiders.
Big old spiders.
Big old
Oh, we got big ones too
and
here.
you know what's really bad out there? And you know what's really bad out there? Those damn black-eyed children. I am so sick of those little fuckers.
Man.
I mean, they come around, they knock on your door, they don't want nothing, but they just want to harass the hell out of you 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
That's interesting. So, have you had experiences with them before?
No.
No.
They don't come to the hood. They don't come to the hood. They know that.
Right?
Oh, man.
We live so far back in the sticks that it'd be a long walk for them, so they ain't gonna do that either.
Yeah, boy, them boys. Hey, I wish they would step up in the hood. You know what's gonna happen to them?
Yeah, there's all kinds of.
They gonna get robbed. They gonna get shanked.
There's so many conspiracy theories as far as what happens if you actually let one in, though. Because there's never. Yeah.
Nobody really knows because it never really happened.
Allegedly, so far, yeah. There has been a few stories of people saying that they knew someone that let them in, and that those people ended up dying.
Really?
Yeah, and if you really look at it, at the lore of it anyway, what's weird about it is that they're always asking permission to come in. Well, that's what a vampire does, is it not? A vampire asks permission to come into your home.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it could be based on the same lore.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know, maybe.
The only can come in unless you ask, unless you give them permission to come in, including spirits. Spirits are the same thing. If you give them permission to come into your realm, they will come in.
Yep.
And that's what you call boundaries, right?
Yeah, and when it comes to stuff like that, Jason and I do some talks and stuff at around, and we do some local talks and things. And when it comes to spirits and stuff, a lot of times what people don't understand is that it's intention.
Yeah,
Intention brings them into you, and then that same intention makes them go away.
exactly.
A lot of people believe in holy artifacts and relics and stuff like that. It's not necessarily the artifact, that the cross or whatever it is you have in your hand. It's that intention that you have behind that object that does what it needs to do.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. If I ever had a sexy ghost come in my house, she's in for a long night.
That's called what's that called? A succubus?
Succubus, yep.
Yeah,
Succubus.
that's what they're called. Succubus.
Lord,
Because
help
I'm gonna
us
do
through this conversation tonight, because it's gonna be a long.
I'm the same way, bud.
Because you know what? I'm gonna do some sucking, and she's gonna do some bussing. You would.
Oh.
Man, hey guys, welcome to the show, man. I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to come chat with me on Irene. I don't really get too many, people that are in the cryptids. Most of the people that come on the show are, just strict paranormal investigators, and they tell me their stories. Some of the stories are amazing.
Right.
Some of the stories, I mean, it is really far. I like, wow, that really happened. And there are some out there that I think that are pulling my leg, but you just gotta go with it.
Yep. That's a fact.
I'm glad I got you guys on the show, because you guys see the full picture. You guys sees the entire bubble, which is, is completely around. So feel free to sit back. If you got a Diet Coke, feel free to pull out the Diet Coke. Or if you got a bottle of Jack Daniels, feel free to pull it out. I mean, because you're in the lion's den, man, and everything is open. I got a twisted tea.
Uh-oh.
I just got finished with my Jack and Coke, so that was gone. So I've got me a water for the show.
Oh, come on. You can't be finished with the Jack and Coke, man. The podcast just started.
Right. Yeah.
There you go.
Now you know what I have to put up with, right?
Guys, quick shout out to everybody. All you guys that are on the different platforms that we're on tonight. There's 8 of them. All you guys on Quick, Rumble, Instagram, X, YouTube, Facebook. Welcome to the show, guys. Let's, show these guys big, round of applause. Let's say hello to these guys, and let's show these guys some unity. Let's show these guys some love, and with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to you guys and let you guys introduce yourselves.
You want to start, Jason?
Yeah, I can. Well, I'm Jason, part of the team here. Me and David, we used to work together, before 2012. So when we got together, when this all started, Paranormal 411, well, actually it was a different name then, but we had to change it due to COVID. We were Project Dark Corona. But when Corona hit, we had to change the name because it just wasn't right.
Oh dear.
So I pretty much was a skeptic when it came to this, until David one day at work said, "I want you to come over the house. I think my house is haunted." Well, he said he knew his house was haunted, and let's investigate it. So I go over. We start our little investigation. Just used a cell phone then with the apps on it. We were recording EVPs and doing EMF, and David thought he had knew he had a little girl spirit in the house. So I sat down in his recliner And before that, he had some experience with her too. He'll tell you about that. But I sat down in the recliner, and every time I'd go across my knee with that EMF, it would just top out, go crazy. Red lights, everything. I'd take it away and it would stop. I'd put it back down there and it would do it again. And we were recording EVPs too. And I asked a question. I said, "Are you sitting on my lap?" Went on a little bit. Well, after David told it to stop, quit doing the, whatever it was doing, and we went back to my knee and it quit doing it. So we went outside and started listening to the EVPs. And when I said, "Are you sitting on my lap?" you hear this small child whisper. I mean, it said yes. And that kind of got all over me. I told David, I said, "I got to go, David."
He's like, what the? Oh, I got to go.
I got to get out of here. I didn't come back for 2 weeks because of that. And that's what really turned me on to it. I finally came to my senses after the big rush and said, "Let's do this." So that's how I got started in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. David, talk to me.
So mine started when I was 3. Mine's been my whole life, all the way up to this point. I was 3 and I started seeing spirits. I could still see spirits. And but what was so scary is at the age of 3, I would wake up and there'd be people just standing in my room that I didn't know who they were. And so I'd jump up, run out of my bedroom, screaming and hollering, telling my mom those people in my bedroom. Of course, no one else would be able to see these people, but myself. And that persisted all the way till I was like 5 years old. Me jumping up almost every morning, screaming, running around the house. And not long after I was 5 years old, I remember just running around the house screaming one night. And then I just stopped. And I don't know what made me stop, but I just stopped and I turned around and looked at them and was like, "I'm not afraid of you no more." And I went to bed. And they stopped waking me up. So but I still see them. And so when Jason was saying that I had seen the little girl, I had literally seen the little girl, especially one Easter night. It was like 9:00 at night. I see something, the way my chair sat, and then my TV, it was in my living room. There was a hallway that went down, and I saw movement come out of that hallway. So I kind of turned and looked, and there's this looked like 9-year-old girl in a big Easter dress, big green, pretty Easter dress. And she just kind of turned and looked at me, and I looked at her. I started watching TV, and then I turned back, and I was like, "Oh, she was gone." But I knew that it was her. It was pretty amazing.
Okay. Does that, Irene, do you see anything?
I'm talking to her right now.
Uh-oh.
She's getting a download.
Oh.
Accident? She died of an accident or something. Kind of interesting. Hold on.
Yeah, the house was a really old house. It was built in 1920.
Yeah. Do you have staircases in your house?
This one I currently live in, I do, yes. That one, it was just a 1-story.
It was a big old estate. It was big old house. There were staircases. She fell down the staircase, and that's how she died.
Okay.
4 or 5 years old ish. Melanie. Melody? Melody. Which one is it? Oh, come on. Melanie? Is that your name? Okay. There's a big, huge dog that lived on that property too. That was her pal. That was her favorite pet, was a big, huge dog. Her
Interesting.
dog lived till he died a long time ago, but she died. Is your body buried on the land? Someplace? Or is it in a cemetery? Her body was buried on the land, but there's no marker. So she's attached to the land. Not much as the house, but more to the land. She said her papa, she didn't like her papa that much, but she liked her mama. That's what I didn't like my papa, but I like my mama. She's singing that kind of voice.
Yeah, I don't use papa anymore.
Hmm?
The word papa, that's an oldie. Hell, my kids don't even call me that.
Yeah, that's what it's the way she's saying it. She goes, I like my mama, but I don't like my papa very much.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there could have been. I mean, you don't know much about the land before that house was built on it, so it could have been.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a
old
big,
farmhouse.
huge. It was a big, huge house a long time ago. It was like one of those old homes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with wooden, white wooden, on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
Not brick, but wood. They used wood a long time ago, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Shiplap and stuff like that. Yeah.
It was like a plantation, almost like house, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like an old southern plantation house. That's what it was.
We've
It
got a
burnt to the
couple
ground. It burnt to the ground.
Okay.
The property got split up and sold separately. That's what happened afterwards. So you just happened to get where she was.
Gotcha. Yeah, there was an old cistern and everything in the backyard
Yeah.
of my house. Yeah.
I think her body is, when they used to, they never had cemeteries, right? Sometimes some people used to bury their dead on the land
Mhm.
instead of taking their body to the cemetery. That's
Yep.
what they did with this child.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
I gotta
interesting.
get I gotta get I get too deep when I do this. That's why I usually ask somebody to back me up, because once I fall in, I can't come out. Okay. I'm back.
I got you. I got you. You know, guys, does any of that sound familiar to you guys?
Well, I mean, the vernacular, papa, mama, or stuff like that. That's Southern. I mean, that's you would hear that here, especially in the olden days. You know, that would be something that would be said for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And the way she was dressed that night in that big green, pretty green, big old fluffy Easter dress,
Mm-hmm.
that's not something that you see anymore. You know, people getting that kind of dressed up in these big floofy Easter dresses and stuff. I mean, that's
Did
something.
she have her hair in ponytails or
Yeah.
pigtails?
Yeah.
Okay. And it was long and kind of
Yep.
curly,
Yep.
kind of like a not a blonde, but more like a brownish blonde
Brunette.
hair.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's her.
Wow,
Yep.
that's interesting. I mean, because
Yep.
that's something you really don't see. That is a Southern style.
Yeah.
That's something you wear in the South. You don't see
Yeah.
that too much in the North.
No.
Actually, she would wear that kind of dress if they were well off too. So
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You see, so they had money, right? And that's how they lived in this huge big house, right?
mhm.
But it's no longer there anymore because it did burn to the ground. And that's when the properties got sold off, got separated, and the properties are like like
Yep.
this, right? Yeah.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
not really a subdivision, but it's part of the city now. So
Yeah.
Mm. Okay, guys. I mean, I don't mean to drag you guys down a rabbit hole, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Oh, he does it all the time, okay?
That's what we like.
that's all
Is
right.
this something that you guys are used to? Guys, we're not going to talk about too much about the paranormal.
All
We
right.
know a lot about that, but
Yeah.
the recent situation that's going on, I'm curious to see what you guys think about that.
Okay.
It's long lost general. Where in the hell is he? Who in the hell abducted him? Why did they abduct him?
that's definitely a rabbit hole because he was head over some serious information. Our government can't even find him. People are looking for him left and right. So you would think that, okay, we'll play devil's advocate for a second, right? So knowing what he did up to the time that he retired or was no longer doing it, could another country have taken him to try to further what they're doing, right? Or or could our government have silenced him because of the information that he did have, and they don't want him to come out? Because we don't know. I mean, George Knapp and stuff like that. They've done a lot of stuff on bringing people in to get them to start telling their stories and to try to break this code of silence and stuff. So, could they have been talking to him and the government's like, nope, you can't do this, and got rid of him? Because, there's other people who've come forward who's talked about people in the government telling them that they would end up dead.
Mm.
So, I mean, there is there's a triangle. There's a triangle. The general
Yes.
starts at top.
Yep.
The general at the top. But everybody is connected to each other. Not just the female physicist that was a part of this, but there's 3 more people that are missing also.
Yep.
And they all work together at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just trying to figure out, how can the United States military lose one of their own? How can a physicist
Mm-hmm.
get lost in the shuffle as well? Meaning these other people. Now,
Right.
from what I was told, as this physicist, this lady, she invented a new alloy that was totally heat resistant.
Right.
As much as you want, as much heat you can put on it, it's going to stay cold.
Right.
Now,
Uh-oh.
that there is that's something,
Yep.
because
Well,
I mean
especially.
NASA.
Yep.
I think NASA would take that and run with it.
Oh yeah. Well, you wouldn't have to worry about, parts of ships, not being there anymore, like what's happened before, where they've had panels pop off the bottom or anything. If it's completely heat resistant, then they could just coat the whole ship with it and they're done, right? You wouldn't have to worry about it.
I gotta tell you
Re-entry.
something after the show. You might want to know what happened to him.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I ain't telling you on no, not on this.
Right.
We gotta
You know what's funny though is that David Politis with his Missing 411 series goes a lot into the missing people that end up missing in very unusual ways, right? And most of the time they're not recovered, but if they are, they're really recovered in very mysterious ways. Usually face down. Men are usually face down in water and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And you know, he's finally came out and said, I think it's UFOs. And high on the list of these missing people are physicists and these type of people. And so now why aliens would want to abduct those people, I don't know, because I mean, I would think that they would have technology far more advanced than ours, but maybe it's to stop us. Maybe that person is about to get onto something that they don't want us to get yet. And so they snatch them, you know?
Mhm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I got a good theory about that one too.
That's it's pretty interesting because in my life of many years, probably older than you guys, I've never heard of a missing general. And it seems like to me that they're not willing to put a worldwide search on him. It seems like they know where he's at and they're content to know where he's at.
Mhm.
And they're not going to worry about it because you don't hear the publicity like it is when the average bear is missing. Let's say, for example, you got somebody missing in the Appalachians. Man, you have everybody under the damn, everybody searching for this guy, but nobody is searching for this guy.
They don't want to know. They don't want to search for him. They'd rather not let anybody know what happened to him. So, yeah, they just said no.
That makes sense.
Yeah. There's a theory on that one.
What was it? Only 3 days later, the rocket scientist that was tied to him went missing too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
It's like hide all evidence. Make sure you don't find him. Make sure you don't find anybody else, and push it underneath the table. Or you gotta have a pretty big blanket, right, to put them under, right?
Right.
Yeah, you gotta have yeah, and get rid of everybody who's associated with him, and including the family too.
Yep.
Yep.
You know, and it's weird is because as close people are missing when it comes to close to one, the Steven Spielberg Disclosure movie that is about to be released.
Can't wait to watch that.
I'm curious. But they also have what's his name documentaries coming out. The one that what's the guy with the glasses? He's the one that dropped the bombshell on all this, but I can't think of his name off the top.
Bob Lazar.
Lazar?
Yeah, Bob Lazar. He has this documentary coming out. But you know what? There's one person that I'm waiting to have a documentary, which I think he ties into all of this. And that is I believe his name is John Lear. His dad invented the Lear jet.
Yeah.
I want to see where he fits into all of this.
Right. Well, I think a lot of things that Lear talked about and stuff like that, you know, you also see with Dr. Stephen Greer, you know, he talks about a lot of it back in the early 2000s or so. You know, Stephen Greer was the one pushing for this stuff to come out, congressional oversights and committees and bringing in people and trying to get them in front of the Congress and stuff like that. And, you know, he's also the same guy that come with your CE5, you know, where you could call these things in.
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy about it? And people, guys, Jason, David, people don't understand when these when these guys when these whistleblowers come to Congress and they tell their story, they have to understand that these senators and these congressmen already know. They already know because they are part of the equation.
Yep, they're already read in. Yeah,
Yeah.
and they're part of a
So,
lot of those gifts too that they have.
Yeah. It's a need to know
so why
basis, right?
even so why even go on national TV or C-SPAN and to disclose this information? Which only thing they're gonna get, they're not gonna get anything.
Right.
You explaining to us, you explaining to people that already know the situation.
Yep. Well, and the problem is that we've got so much that's locked up into these black books and black projects and stuff like that, billions and billions of dollars, trillions of dollars, probably really, and these actual vehicles that they've gotten, they've procured. These things are also locked up into places like Boeing and Skunk Works and all these places. And the great thing about that is that the government's hands are tied, because they don't have no FOIA can get over to these private organizations. So you could FOIA all you want to, and you're not going to get nothing. And so they do it on purpose.
You don't have to FOIA anything, Jason.
Yeah.
What is the one thing that we always do? What is the one thing that we always do? It's a must. And it always lead back to the situation where it's at hand. Always follow the money.
Yep.
Yep.
It never fails. If you follow the money, it will lead you where you need to be.
Yeah. The problem is that the government and parts of the government have done really well with hiding the money and where the money's going. They've purposefully failed audits with that and not telling purposefully how much money, where it went, and what it was spent on or anything. So when you're not even held accountable for that, then it just shows a bigger issue, and it gets back into things that we've had dead presidents talk about, right? And that's the secret organizations and these ability for this war machine to be able to do things without congressional oversight, to do things on their own. And so, what's funny is that, and I think it was in the 80s, it was the president of Lockheed Skunk Works came out in a press conference and actually said, we now have the technology to take ET home. So read into that whatever you want. But you can look it up, and he did say it. So,
I think they already knew that long time ago. I think they knew that long time ago. It's just come out saying that you get little bits and pieces here and there, right? It's up to you to put it all together again. Yeah.
You got to be a master puzzle, be able to put these pieces.
I think from the time, Roswell, from that time to now, we've basically reverse engineered multiple things like fiber optics.
Yeah.
What else, David?
Night vision.
Night vision. Yeah.
Stealth. You got stealth missiles. You got stealth airplanes. You got stealth submarines.
Yep. Yeah.
It's more quiet than stealth. The new stealth submarines are more quiet because you can't hear pin drop when they go in the ocean.
Yep.
Guys, And where do you are you guys big Stargate fans? Have you guys ever watched a Stargate movie or
I
TV
love
show?
Stargate. I love
Funny,
Stargate. And Jason
funny.
over here,
Yeah,
he goes to sleep every night watching Stargate. So
I'm their number
Okay,
one fan.
yes.
and this the most intriguing thing is if you look at the end of each TV show,
Mhm.
you'll see the United States military on the bottom of each one of those. Why do you think that is?
The film industry uses a lot of military liaisons when it comes to certain movies. And it's been done ever since Project Blue Book.
Yeah.
And so you wonder if it's them slowly leaking information in a slow, methodical way. So then that way, because they're afraid that the world's going to fall apart if people found out today that aliens exist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's based on bunk information, but I think it's just the wealthy that don't want to lose what they have over it. But I think that your average person is just going to be like, so I pretty much figured that, and just keep on going to work.
I want
Right,
to
Mhm.
show you
right.
something, okay? Look at this picture behind me, okay? The reason why I put this up because it's very interesting. That's on a big, huge mountain. This side, that side is the ocean. This side is the mountain, okay?
Mhm.
Um, I'm part of this Shinto religion, which this
Okay.
is, and aliens created this religion, and only the filthy rich and only the people who had royalty are part of that religion. How did they get these big beams up the mountain?
Mhm.
It was built long time ago by my ancestors.
Yeah.
Built this particular temple, and there's huge tree beams on this mountain, right?
Mhm.
And it's like a step pyramid, so it goes. Yeah, there's steps right all the way up the mountain. These are all the priests that work in that in this temple. But how did they get everything up that mountain long time ago?
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
was it created?
How did they do a lot of things a
Yeah,
long time ago?
Shit.
yeah,
But
it's
guys,
crazy.
Yeah.
it's crazy. But you know, I don't admire the guy. I mean, you know what? I do admire the guy because he's put a lot of information out, and you guys probably know. You guys probably watched him on this TV show. And the only person that I know that has a scientific fact on what actually happened on this planet
Hmm.
to a certain degree is Bill Carson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you guys agree with some of his terminology, or or, uh, or you guys don't. What do you guys think about it?
Well, I mean, I think that he follows a lot of the Sitchinite teachings. So Zechariah Sitchin, and which at a pretty young age I read all the books, and I firmly believe a lot of what Zechariah Sitchin talked about the Watchers coming down, creating humans as a slave
Hmm.
race,
Yeah.
and the whole 9 yards. And what's funny is that you know the Bible only has little snippets of stuff like that in it, but
Hmm.
when you go back to older texts than the Bible,
Hmm.
back to cuneiforms and older writings, then you get the full picture of these kings and how long they lived, and
Hmm.
and you get to see the Sumerian kings lists and all these things, and then you start wondering, wow, you know, um,
And they
it,
even showed them how they would travel in the air,
yep,
right? And
yep,
what vehicles they used to travel.
yep. And what was funny is that Zachariah Sitchin, even back in the day, we hadn't even seen Uranus at the time yet. And he read on the tablets and he says, okay, it's going to be this bluish green planet that has, rings around it. And we didn't even know at the time. We hadn't got to see it yet. And when Hubble was first put up and everything, that's when we actually got our first really good big glimpse of it. And it turned out to be exactly what Zechariah Sitchin had wrote about, even though they still try to bash him today for saying that he never knew how to read cuneiform. He couldn't do this. He couldn't do that. He mistranslated all of this stuff. And what's funny is what's in a translation. You look at the Christian Bible, it's full of mistranslations, full of them, from one end of it to the other, full of them. And so much so that they're called interpolations. And a lot of people, when you see these bold lettering in the Bible, that's not to show power or anything behind it. No, that's saying that's an interpolation. And the Bible's full of it. And so when you're trying to get something that's that close to us, and we can't even really get get it right, but you're trying to say this guy is getting it all wrong. I think they're wrong.
Why do you
I think when it was translated to English, I think they screwed up right there when they tried to translate it into English, right?
Yeah.
Why
They
do
even
you
got the
think
names
that,
wrong too.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Why do you think the average day person refused to believe in what?
Are you ready to go down that rabbit hole?
Why do
Okay.
you think
I'm gonna mention one thing. Okay, Terry likes to get his finger stuck in the light socket all the time. This time he's getting his head stuck in the light socket. Okay, so you go ahead and go down that rabbit hole, Terry.
because I think the audience want to know, why do you think if there is so much evidence about so many different types of aliens that are out there that allegedly put us together?
Native American tribe.
Why do they still believe in the Christian Bible? Why do they still believe in the Bible when they know logically that this could have happened? People have to understand that science is evolving every day, but the Christian Bible has not in hundreds of years.
Thousands.
I don't understand why people have not evolved with the science. They're still stuck in their ways, or like, oh, I'm praying to this. I mean, I'm not saying that there's not someone out there that's almighty.
Right.
I'm not saying that. But if the Anunnaki, Leo, his dad, the brother, came down here digging for gold, looking for a race to erase us, and whatever they did, and they're like, well, hey man, the big revolt came. They're like, well, let's go ahead and put these people together and see if they can do it for us. And so the evolution begins. So why is it hard for people to understand that situation?
It's an easy question to answer, but a hard one at the same time. And there's one word to it: indoctrination. So what a lot of people, when they hear that word, it triggers this bad thing of, oh, well, you're just talking about religion, or you're talking about this. But you got to understand that from the moment you're born, you're indoctrinated into your culture. You're indoctrinated into the way your parents believed, their parents believed, and their parents' parents believed before them. Most people will not tear themselves away from that belief system because they don't want to be alienated from those people. So therefore, this indoctrination carries this on and on and on. So whether you actually believe it or not, it's something that you're going to practice and something you're going to do because that keeps you grounded with those people that you see as your peers and so on and so forth. So, The problem is that we indoctrinate from the time a child is born. They get indoctrinated. They don't get to find who they are. They don't get to find what they want to do. We as parents say, this is your name. This is what you're going to do. This is what I expect from you. And so we indoctrinate these kids into everything, into our own religions, whatever our religion is. We indoctrinate them into our societies. And so those indoctrination molds those minds at an early age. And so, when people get older, a lot of people aren't like us, and we don't, where we ask these questions and we think these things. Other people might do it, but they're not going to rock the boat. That's as far as they're going to go with it.
Plus, you're taught as parents to be a part of something, to belong to something, to belong to a church or to belong to something.
Yep.
Instead of being all alone.
Yep.
And
you got to be. You have that sense of community, right? And
yeah.
if you're not indoctrinated or you're not part of that community, then you're an outcast.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're the witch. You're the witch in the woods that didn't want to be part of society that people would go after because she didn't believe the same beliefs as everybody else. Wasn't that she was a bad person? No. She just didn't believe, and so therefore they searched after her and killed her.
Yeah, that's funny because I'm into witchcraft myself too. So I'm a gray witch, okay, but I do it to protect my home, protect my family, and help my friends so they can protect their home. I don't go out and do crazy stuff because I'm not like that. But sometimes you wish you would, right?
Yes. I have those intentions sometimes, but I do not go over with it.
No, let me tell you my story with religion. When I was
yikes,
yes, before I can even remember, I was church every time the doors open. If I didn't go to church, I got in trouble, even up until I was 17, 18 years old. If I didn't go to church, I was no good. And the more I thought about it, the more I kept seeing what was going on. And they had me so scared to die. This is why I was in church. So scared to die, so scared to do this, so scared to do that. And
control mechanism.
It's scary.
Yeah.
They make it scary.
If you don't go to church, you're damned. If you don't go to church, you're going to go to hell, right?
Right. Yeah. It's just terrible.
I grew up similarly. We were in a church pretty much 7 days a week, and I went to a Christian private school, the whole 9 yards. I mean, I lived at church practically. I was there all the time. But, I started asking these crazy questions and started getting in trouble. I've kind of always been that way. But, it was so... Name a mom or a mother or a father that would condemn their kids to anything like an everlasting hell. Name one that actually loves their children that would do that. And I'm sorry, but he supposedly have this unconditional love for everyone. But yet, if you don't fall down and worship the very ground that he stands on, he's gonna. I'm sorry, I love you, but this is tough love. You're just gonna have to burn forever. And I could never wrap my mind around it as a kid, ever. And so I was like, I'm out because there's no explanation.
As an adult, what you're doing now, that would be also sin too, right?
Oh yeah, talking to spirits. Absolutely.
No, we've been called devil worshipers and everything.
Bible Belt, So I mean, it's bad.
But how many things on this planet do people worship? I mean, they worship the Easter Bunny. They worship the Easter Bunny. They worship Santa Claus. There are so many things that we worship. Are all these people? See, that's why I like watching that TV show, American Gods. If you guys never watched that TV show, then I think you guys should watch.
Yeah. I had a buddy of mine at work telling me about it the other day, saying that it was really good.
You know, because you got good gods, you got old gods, you got new gods fighting each other. Over who? Over us.
Right. Right. And see,
You
that's
know,
where you start wondering why. Why does um my worship to you matter so much?
Yeah.
Why can my sovereignty be my sovereignty and what I choose to do with my life be okay?
Yeah.
Because I choose to be sovereign, not
Yeah.
to worship anything.
And and then
yeah.
if you're not a Christian, if you're not that, you're labeled as a pagan, right?
Right here.
And then
pagan.
why not? Why
I am
not?
pagan.
Like, what's so wrong about being a pagan, right?
Well,
And then
you know, that was just a
Where it
label
started.
put on. That was just a label put on anything that was not Christianity.
yeah,
You know,
and I'm a
all
pagan
other,
too.
yeah,
I'm a
all
pagan
other
too,
religions.
right? Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I'm
You
not
know, if
saying I
we
don't
went,
believe in anything, but I do think there is a one source out there in the universe somewhere that we're all connected to. But I'm not going to worship one thing.
Yeah,
I like the way that the Tao puts it. You know, the Tao has a very nice, simple way that they put it, and and it's like we're all God. Just
Mhm.
you know, we sometimes we choose to know we are, and sometimes we don't. But it's okay. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. One way or another, it doesn't matter. If you go through this life not knowing you're a God, that's okay. And then if you
Mhm.
come to an awakening and you realize you're God, it's okay.
Yeah,
I like that.
we have
don't we?
we
I
have
mean,
almost the
aren't we
same
worship?
philosophy too. Like
I mean, aren't we? I mean, aren't we worshipped as men? Our children worship us,
yeah,
Yep.
and in our children's eyes, the fathers does no wrong.
yeah,
Right.
We're idolized.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't understand where all this is coming from. I mean, it's killing me slowly but surely.
Yeah.
It's there to control people, just
It's a
like David
control.
I
said.
mean,
It's control.
who? And the biggest question is, who has that much power to have control over so many? Is it the Catholic
Mhm.
Church?
Well, you know, that's the thing though. So they call it the Dark Ages for a reason. You
Mhm.
know, after they rewrote, or actually, I won't say rewrote the Bible. Actually, they actually put the Bible together right at the Council of Nicaea in like 300 AD. Uh, After that, you know, is when they came up with our Bible that we have today. And then it wasn't long after that that we entered the Dark Ages.
Yeah,
And without the church's permission for anything, the church had more power than the kings had power. The kings
yeah,
come to the church to get things done, right? And
yeah.
so, you
Mm,
know, when we entered that dark age, we lost a lot.
Mhm.
Um, you know, the Library of Alexandria is gone. All those writings, right? When the conquistadors came over here to the Americas, and they went down into Mexico and all that, and they burnt every one of those Mayan codices.
Mhm.
Hundreds, if not thousands, of years of Mayan writings telling everything,
Mhm.
and now we have just a snippet of that because it was seen as being of the devil.
Mhm.
but
And you
I
know,
think
we've gone backwards in technology
I
and
think
everything.
I think if we lost one, we gained another. You know, the when the scrolls came into existence, I think that shed a light on so much. You know, the Dead Sea Scrolls. You know, it,
Mhm.
it just opens up a pathway to, I think, enlightenment, and hopefully it'll give people an opportunity to think outside the box.
Yeah,
If you're not,
I think that if you look at the Ethiopian Bible, though, the Ethiopian Bible has not changed in thousands of years, and the Ethiopian Bible had those very same things in them that was lost, and we caught with the Dead Sea Scrolls. And so, it's not like these things were lost. No one was looking for them because, these are things that mainstream churches and stuff did not want out, right? They don't want,
they don't want you to know the secrets about the secrets about the secrets, right? And to make you complicit, to make you listen, to make you fall in line with what I say is what I say. Do as I say, not say as I do.
Right.
I think some of those scrolls were just rewrites of prior history, like from the Sumerians. They had the Epic of Gilgamesh, the same story as the flood, exact same story.
Noah's story, exactly. But
yes,
2,000 years older than Noah's story. Yeah.
It's crazy.
And so when you start looking at the Epic of Gilgamesh and all these old Sumerian writings, and then you start looking at the newer stuff, right, that happened in Egypt and with the Jews and stuff like that, they were just retelling the stories that were told much, 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 much earlier. Much earlier. Just a retelling.
And I don't understand why people don't believe.
Yeah.
I mean, people are still in denial as they are, as they were back then.
Yep.
They're
and
scared
like
because
say,
they're scared to know. They're scared to learn. Once they get it in their head, no, this is what you're taught. This is what you're supposed to learn. This is what you're supposed to believe. This is what you're supposed to do. Like, if you're a good person, you go to heaven. If you're rotten son of a bee, you go to hell, right? So that's what you're taught. You're taught to comply the way that you're told to when you're a young kid. And as you grow older, you teach your kids to do the same thing. So it's like a domino effect, like all in the same pile, right? I was lucky that I didn't have to do that. I was lucky that I didn't have to, but yeah, it's.
I would like to meet the person. I would like to meet the person that indoctrinated all of this. We would have an amazing conversation on what all of this. And I don't know if it's a God or gods. I don't know. But the thing is, this world worship many gods.
Yep.
Not just Jesus Christ, not just Allah, not just the Easter Bunny, not just the little man in the suit that Santa Claus. There are many gods that are being worshipped.
Yeah.
There's multiple times that the Bible contradicts itself. Genesis, the creation, said, "Let us make man in our image." That's what the verse says.
Yeah.
But you know what that sounds like to me?
What?
That sounds like some alien had the capability of had some DNA technology and saying, I'm going to make these slaves in my image so they can go harvest my gold.
Well, that's what the Anunnaki done, right? And if you look at their writings, which is much older than the Bible, that's exactly the exact same verse that Jason just talked about is in that also, and it says the exact same thing. Let us make man in our image, and so you can see it if you look for it. You can see these similarities from these ancient things onto what we call ancient today, but these others are much more ancient.
And the weirdest thing is, and I don't know if you guys be able to answer this question for me. Did they leave? I know there was a big war. Because Egypt wouldn't look the way that it is if there wasn't a war.
Yeah, supposedly, after the flood, right? They tried to wipe man off the planet, but one of them, I think, was it Inky or Enlil? I forgot which one, but anyway, found favor in a human and told them to make an ark, and the whole same story that you get with Noah, and and then it all starts back over again with this person, and but there comes a time where, you know, they see that they have to leave. And so Nibiru is coming back around again to where they can make just a short jump to Nibiru, and they leave, but they say that they will be back when Nibiru comes back around. So,
In the meantime,
they gave man to charge over man, and it was supposed to be in certain lineages that men oversaw men because they were demigods or half gods or whatever. They were seen higher than other man, and so they gave them the power to rule over everybody else in their stead while they were gone.
And that's why keeping people in line to make them listen to, like, I'm the bigger person, so I'm gonna make you do this, and you're gonna do that, and you're gonna listen to me, and you're gonna supposed to do this and this, and you're supposed to do that and that and that. And that's how they kept everyone in line, right?
Yep. Well, and every king, even up to today, the king of England and everything, their family lineage goes back to one of these half human, half god people, and that's how they get their status. The king of Japan was saw as this god being.
Yeah.
Every one of these people were seen as gods on earth, and that's why they were to be worshipped. And also,
you know what? That's why they created their own religion from aliens who came to Earth, told them to build a shrine like this one here, and you'll worship that god. And it's funny because not everyone is allowed to go into this and to be part of this. I am, because it's my lineage, okay? It's my bloodline. But if you're not part of that bloodline, you don't go there. And you know what? My next door neighbor doesn't go there. I go there, but my other next door neighbor doesn't go there. It's like you're separating the people as classes, right?
Right. And that's another way of doing it.
Yep.
That's another way of control.
Yep.
Interesting. Do you guys ever think that disclosure will ever happen?
Ooh, I think that, in 1960s, we had for one whole week objects buzzing the White House for a whole week. And Project Blue Book, done write-ups on it. But, everybody says, well, these little grain, until they park on the White House lawn and come out. Well, I mean, pretty close to it when you're buzzing the White House for a week at a time. What else do you want? I think that, and this is just, years of Star Trek and these other things, but I would think that a civilization that's much greater and has reached, at least a class 1, class 2 civilization where we're still at a 0, would have something in place to where they couldn't contaminate us.
Yeah.
And I don't mean by bugs or anything else. I mean by knowledge contaminate us. And so, I think that, and you may have nefarious ones that they do, right? They're in cahoots with the governments of the world just to keep the fighting going, right? I don't know, but you would think that these higher beings would have something in place to where they're like, okay, we can talk to you. Jason and I for years have had a a thought, right? And we've talked about writing a book on it, but we haven't yet. And it was called the future seeding the past. And in this thought experiment of the future seeding the past, it could be us, it could be other civilizations, alien civilizations, or whatever it is. But if you've ever heard people talking about alien technologies, it would be like us throwing a cell phone back into the 1800s, right? People wouldn't know what it was, how it works, how to do anything with it.
Yeah.
So in the future seeding the past, what you would want to do is slowly build people up to where they could understand the technology. So you would seed things, right? A spaceship that they could figure out the metallurgy on it or something. And then you would start seeding more technology to where you could raise these people up, but not just all at once. And if that's a fact, which it almost seems like it could be, just for the fact that you see how we went from horse and buggy to where we are today in just, the blink of an eye, when 4, 5, 6, 7,000 years, we was hitting stones together. I mean, we went from nothing to where we are today in a blink of an eye. And it's not usually, it usually does not take that, it usually takes a long time to do this. So it's almost like something is feeding us this technology, just bite sizes at a time, and just enough to where we can understand it. And once it sees that we could kind of start understanding it, then it feeds us just a little bit more, and then just a little bit more, just a little bit more. And so it's trying to raise us from here, maybe to a higher level, to where they can actually say, hey, okay, now we're going to come down and show you who we are. That's our thoughts on this for years now.
Do you think other countries are tapping on the alien technology more than other countries?
Man, I don't know. I think that we definitely show it, right, in our Air Force and in our military capabilities. We definitely show that we seem to have some kind of an upper hand, but we definitely don't always know what everybody else is holding until they show it.
We're in cahoots with the aliens.
I'll give you a little hint on that one, because I know the answer to that one. I just wanted to know if you knew the answer. We've got a lot of alien technology on this side of the world, okay? My country has a lot of alien technology. They just don't want to tell you anybody because it's only national, not international.
Right.
Medical wise, military wise, everything has come down to alien technology in this country, right? There's a lot of visitation from outer space in this country. And it happens all the time here. Even I saw something in the sky too that wasn't normal. It was really weird, but yeah. I mean, I was talking to my friend, and I was looking outside. There was a huge. I don't live too far away from the military bases here, because you always see helicopters flying around, and you see commercial airplanes flying around too. But there was a huge helicopter flying around, and I said, "Geez, it's 8 o'clock in the night. Come on, like." Be quiet. And then I said, holy shit. I went like that. But it's just normal in this country to see spaceships in this. Yeah. Okay, I get it. Right. So everyone says, oh, did you see that? Oh yeah, it's in the sky. Yeah. And everyone's taking pictures of it, and everyone's taking a video of it, and nobody really said, oh my God, oh, that's scary. Nobody does that. I said, oh, that's that. Yeah. But
we have really good friends of ours from Mexico City, Mexico.
Yeah.
And it's there too. I mean, it'll make the news when they see things like that. They don't have that separation like what we do here in America, where the government won't say, like where we had all those hot air balloons that we shot down, right? Hot air balloons. We used $500,000 missiles to shoot down a hot air balloon. Yep. Okay, go ahead. Tell me another lie.
News here is
You know,
open
that was,
and it's not controlled by the government.
Yeah.
It's different.
you know, that was the next question I was going to ask you guys. What the hell happened in El Paso?
El Paso. Uh-oh, you're gonna have to fill me in. I don't know. Are you?
Was
Oh,
that
you guys didn't hear about that?
spaceship that had an accident and fell from the sky?
Recently,
Yeah, last month.
And they
It
had to
was all over
build
the
buildings
news.
around it to cover it up, so they didn't want anybody else looking at what happened.
Yeah, dude, they shut down the airport, the airspace for like allegedly for a week.
No,
to-
that's interesting. I must have been under a rock
retrieve,
that week.
to recover something. And once they recovered it, they're like, well, you guys, and I'm not talking about they shut down airspace. No no hospital helicopters that can transport you couldn't fly in. I mean, they shut down the El Paso airport. Who does that? I don't know who has control of the airspace more, the FAA or the United States military.
Military,
Military. Yep.
military, right?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, they shut that down till they went and scooped up whatever they wanted to scoop up, and they apparently they blamed it on drones from the cartels.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm like,
They got
damn,
to blame
dude,
somebody. They got to blame it on somebody, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
what purpose would the cartels have to? Why would they even deal with drones? I mean,
Because they had to make a
what the hell are
story.
they gonna do? Launder money? They're gonna launder money with drones? They're gonna ship drugs with drones? There's other means that you can do that. But shut down and hold entire cities commercial airspace?
No, that's
Something's
weird.
wrong.
yeah.
Because
that's
somebody
weird.
was snorting too much drugs. That's why they made that.
Well, I mean, they've been known to dig the tunnels, but I would think that the only use they would have for a drone is if they were going to coyote people across across the fence there, and they was just looking to see if there was no, border patrol or something in the area. But other than that, I wouldn't see why you'd do anything else with it, because I mean, it's going to be seen. The radar's going to see it.
I don't see any logic of any reason why any
They-
cartel will use drones for anything of that, for any reason.
Right.
Because
They
the government
they
was
might have
snorting
hired
the good
Amazon
stuff,
to
that's why.
deliver their packages.
They were snorting the good stuff. That's why.
Amazon, that like the whole situation, it's just incident after incident after incident. If we're not talking about what happened in Miami when the aliens teleported it into the mall to actually go shopping, we're talking about a downed aircraft in Las Vegas in somebody's backyard.
They wanted to get new pairs of Nikes. That's why.
That was an odd story. The Vegas story.
The Vegas story was odd, and the footage that the people had shot was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
On that. And the same with the mall in Miami. That was interesting.
If you could get past all the AI that they had made, the Miami Mall. I mean, it was interesting.
The thing is, though, is that what's weird about it to me, and Jason and I talk about it a lot on our show, but we think a lot of this stuff has to do with, well, I guess it could be multiple things, but we usually chalk it up to a couple of things. Interdimensional.
Oh yeah.
Things coming over through interdimensionally. because we know there's at least 10, and if there's 10, then there's more than likely an infinite number of other dimensions. And so I honestly believe that it's either these things are coming in interdimensionally.
Mhm.
And we have a lot of cases where things happen to people that would almost, say that it's very possible. And maybe it's not an interdimensional, maybe it's a wormhole of some sort.
Or some kind of portal or their own Stargate, right?
Yep, because you have people who there's tons and tons of stories of people that are driving somewhere, right? They're going on vacation somewhere or something, and they go into this little town. They stop at this inn. It's really cheap, but it's like set way back. It looks like the olden days in there, and they're like they pay for it and stuff like that, and they get a really good breakfast in the morning, and they just can't believe how cheap this place is. So they go on, to where they were going, and on their way back, they're like, "Hey, let's stop at this little place again. It was cheap, it was nice, And come to find out that place hadn't been there for 50 years.
Yeah.
It doesn't even exist anymore. And there are tons of these
Time slip.
tons of these stories of time slips.
What do you think of those airplanes? There was one airplane that a commercial airplane that just landed in the airport, and it was missing for such a long time, and it just finally landed. And it was really weird because that type of airplane no longer exists, and the people came off the airplane, and that was somewhere in the States. I don't remember, but I thought it was really. I think they left the planet. They went someplace else, and they came back.
Right.
I think that was in South America somewhere. It took off in the 60s and landed
In the 90s.
in the 90s, and
Yeah.
the people that were on it were still
the same
people, the same thing, the same
And
looking people.
the clothes that they wore were outdated.
For what you guys described, don't that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Don't that sound familiar? The movie Close Encounters resembled every aspect of what you guys just talked about.
Yep.
Now, they say the movie Close Encounters was an actually true event that got leaked out.
Yep.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but what she just described is something that allegedly happened.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Apparently, the person who was going to interview Spielberg had something to do with it, but there's a person that was involved with making that movie was talking about what happened to these people, and the guy chickened out and he said, "No, I can't talk to you anymore." And so they made the movie with just the notes that they had about this, and that's what happened. Apparently, that's what happened.
Well, and that movie also had a military liaison that was on that film also.
Yep.
So, Yep.
Every time we turn around, dude, there's always one.
Right.
Yeah.
Always one.
Well, look at Gene Roddenberry. Gene Roddenberry was the producer of Star Trek, right? And he was really interested in going out of space, and that was one of his pet peeves. What did he know? What did he bring to the grave for himself that he didn't reveal to anybody else, right?
Right. Well, I know that he, to come up with the technology that was on, the show, right? So the warp engine drives and all these things like that, he actually got with real physicists and said, how can we go faster than the speed of light? Because Einstein says if you have mass, right? So nothing with mass can go faster than the speed of light. And so, a pencil can't go the speed of light because it has mass.
And how did they beam up people, right?
Right. Yeah. So he got real world knowledge on okay, if you're going to go, that you're going to need to create a warp bubble around the ship. That's why they call it warp drive. And when you do that, you separate yourself from space time. So you're no longer in space time. So therefore you can go faster than the speed of light.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like squeezing through the toothpaste.
It's all science.
Yeah.
Also,
It's funny. It's funny.
Jason,
Yeah.
Jason, let me ask you a question, man. You've been the quiet one, and I kind of want to.
He wants to
Rub
pick
on
on
your
you.
feathers.
David
Yeah,
likes to
over there.
talk. I mean,
He wants to
why
pick on
not?
ya.
Why let David talk?
Go ahead, Jason.
Go.
Oh no! I gotta pick on you. I want to pick on
See,
you.
I told you he's gonna pick on ya.
I'm gonna pick on you. How many, starting from Eisenhower? Tell me your top 10 presidents that you think that were in the know and those that wasn't in the know.
Top 10? That's a lot.
Yep.
I don't know if there's 10.
Huh?
I don't know if there's 10.
Yeah. Anyway, Eisenhower, let's see. Definitely Eisenhower was in the know.
Yeah,
So we know that from supposedly meeting with the aliens and all that stuff.
Yep.
Eisenhower, Kennedy, I do believe, knew a lot.
that's why he got assassinated. I think that's why he got assassinated.
I think it's one of many.
Yeah.
He told the 3-letter agency that he was going to shut them down too.
Which
So I think-
which 3-letter agency?
One that
CIA.
yeah, the CIA. He
Yep.
told them that he was going to close the doors on them. He didn't trust them.
Yeah, I think Michelle, she says Reagan. I do think that he knew, because in some of his speeches, he even talks about it.
Well, and Reagan, besides him having his speeches, he also was a big proponent for Star Wars program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars
I think
did
you
work.
I think you was the one that
It did
introduced
work.
it.
It did work because one of my mother's friends was an engineer who worked for Panasonic, and he had a laser gun in the car, and he told his wife, "You sit there," and that baby was his thing, and he talked about Star Wars does work.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you look at this little war that we're in right now, right? We're actually using space lasers to shoot down some of these incoming missiles.
Yeah.
And so Star Wars has been around. I knew a guy when I lived in California a long time ago, when I was a much younger guy, and he was part of NASA before it was called NASA. And he worked on the radio telescope, and he mapped the moon, for them to be able to land. And he told me all about it. I was a young guy, and at the time I really didn't care. I wish he was still around for me to pick his brain today, but he had a Q clearance, and he talked to me about the aliens. He talked to me. He says, "Look, they say that we didn't put any weapons in space, but we did." He says Reagan put weapons in space. He goes,
"Yeah,
it happened."
It's funny. You think of the satellites that are floating around the air, right? What do they know about us? What are they watching? Who are they watching? Why are they watching?
Yep. They know it all. Every conversation they've ever had.
Yeah. And we got a whole bunch of satellites here, floating in the sky. Every year they always launch a new satellite from here, and they go, Oh God, here we go again. And you know what? And Japan wanted to go to space, right? But NASA said no, you can't. No, 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 no. But imagine what they do if they went to space. Holy cow! I think they
I,
knew.
I think they've been watching since we dropped the first atomic bomb.
Oh yeah.
Once we discovered the atom,
Mhm.
that changed the playing field.
Yeah.
Uh, Once that happened, they took a little bit more interest because, like you say, David, we was the nothing planet until that happened.
Hmm.
Once
Yeah,
we
and
discovered the atom, it changed the ballgame.
well, and if you listen to people like Dr. Mitchell Kaku and some of these theoretical physicists and stuff, you know, we're studying string theory, and this is the latest and greatest as far as all of that stuff goes, the theoretical physics. And he says that we just stumbled on it, like
Hmm.
someone that can't see at nighttime and trips over a chair. We stumbled on it. This is the reason we haven't fully grasped it is because this is something that is above where we are today.
Hmm.
And until we get to a place where we can understand it, we're just not going to understand it.
I think some of us do understand.
Exactly.
I think not all of us have are given the the knowledge to understand it. I think only certain people are given the knowledge to understand, and the rest of them, well, you're not ready, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same
Uh,
thing about
yeah.
me. It's the same thing about me and my abilities. I know a heck of a lot, but I can't tell anybody, and he gets on my nerves every time because he thinks I should tell him, and I said I'm not gonna tell you, blah blah blah, right? So, anyways, yeah, that's when we get into big scuffle about that. But you see, I think certain people are given the knowledge to understand, and the rest saying you're not ready. Until you're ready, we ain't gonna tell you anything. And that's where I'm bound to secrecy, where I can't tell everybody everything, right? And until that time, you're gonna have to wait.
Right.
And
You
that's the
know,
part.
yeah.
That's where
Hey,
my shoulders
Jason.
are so heavy. I want to, but nope.
Hey, Jason. Do you think Ford knew? You think President Ford knew what was going on?
I don't think so.
I
I
Mm.
don't
think
think
he
so
was just
either.
a puppet.
What about Carter?
He had his own siding, but
Because
I,
because Carter threatened the military that he was going to go public,
yeah,
but something happened where he decided not to do it.
he had his own siding. I forget what year it was, but and it was out all over the place that this is what he saw, and I think he might have known. I definitely know the Bushes knew,
Hmm.
Which one?
both of them. If
Both
the
of them?
daddy knew,
Daddy
the son knew.
and the son, right?
Right.
Is that the reason? I think that's the reason why the Stephenville lights occurred. Because I really, this is just conspiracy theories, but this is what I think really happened that night. I think that the aliens, because the Bush Ranch is just south of Stephenville,
Hmm.
and the way the UFO was headed to, they said it was heading to the Bush Ranch.
Hmm.
But all of a sudden, those three uh, uh, planes that flew past Stephenville, everybody caught. Well, first they saw the UFO, then they saw the jets that came out of Dallas to shoot them down, but it never happened. And to this day,
Mm.
I still think that that UFO was going to the Bush Ranch for some particular reason.
Yep.
I
I
don't
also
know.
think the Clintons knew too. The Clintons are so dirty; they probably knew everything.
What do you think about Obama? Do you think he knew?
I think a certain extent he did. I'm not. I don't. I don't think he knew everything.
It's
But I
a
think,
need to know basis, right?
yeah, I think he knew something was wrong or something was out there. But I don't think he was ever told what it was.
Okay,
Interesting.
that's
What about the
interesting.
jackass we got now? You think he know?
I do. I think he knows.
Why would they? Why would they? Why would they tell somebody who's imbalanced like him?
Well, with all the things coming out, all the disclosure coming out, somebody, probably multiple people, have talked with him about this, and he probably knows more than we think he does. I just think. What do you think, David?
Yep. Well, I mean, he said it himself, right? He said that Obama said some stuff on a podcast, and then later retracted what he said, right? And then it got to Trump, and Trump's like, he just divulged classified information. He shouldn't have done that. He says, well, I'm going to help him out, and maybe we'll make him have to divulge the information. And I mean, the government just opened up a website. They haven't started putting things on it yet, but there's a website that's out there, so it's probably going to be coming, whatever it is, right? I don't know, but
do you think people already knew that? And
I think that it's crazy to think that the average person, really cares, right? Most average people are just like 9 to 5, home, do whatever, sleep, 9 to 5, home, do whatever, sleep. And they're just in this survival mode and blinders on, and what goes on around them, they don't care too much, to be honest with you. I don't think
they're living in their own little bubble, right?
Huh?
They're living in their own little bubble.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, with all of that, that's why things get shoved in the corner, because we, the people, see, we back in the days when we used to do a bunch of conspiracy theory shows, we had a few conspiracy theory shows, and one of them that we done on multiple occasions was called "We the People." Right, it's the first letters on a major document that we have.
Yep.
And most people don't understand that we the people are the checks and balance on the system. We the people have stopped checking and balancing.
Yeah.
We've picked sides, and we've been played as fools to pick sides and not band together and tell them to stop with this foolishness and let's get back to business.
Yeah.
But see, they allow us to pick sides. They allow us to get divided between, ethnicities, and between how much money you make and how much money I make, and all these social classes, and they do all these things. You're Catholic and I'm Protestant, and I mean, they divide us between all these different ways. So then one person doesn't like another person because of X. And
they do it to control.
It's a control mechanism. It's the same thing that religions are. It is a control mechanism. You've got two major control mechanisms on everybody's life every day. One is your religion. The second one is your government.
And it's been like that since day one.
Yes, sir.
It's been like that forever.
Forever. Yes. Ever since the Anunnaki left.
Yep. What's going on up in Utah?
Like what? Like the Skinwalker Ranch type stuff, or
the Skinwalker? Yeah, but you know what? I think Dugway is tied into Skinwalker's Ranch. I don't know if you guys know what Dugway Proving Ground is, but Dugway is the second Area 51 that nobody wants to fucking talk about. I don't understand why nobody wants to talk about it. There's a lot of strange things that are going up in Dugway that, I guess they trying to reflect from it, but Dugway is there for a reason, and it covers literally half of the damn state. The United States government owns half of Utah.
Isn't it funny how they're able to just claim this land and do stuff on it that's beyond the scope of, right?
Where are
And
they
that's
getting? I mean, I understand it costs, $10 billion to own a gavel and $30 billion to own a damn toilet seat. But come on, guys. I mean, at what point are we going to hold these guys accountable and just say no? Another thing, where are all the tribal people that own this land? Utah is one of the largest reservations for Native Americans I've ever seen. And the Native American and the tribal people up there are just, I don't know if they giving this money or the tribal people are just saying, hey, we'll give you this land for a large amount of money, because we're not using it, so hey, let's go ahead and negotiate. And to me, I don't think that's right.
unfortunately, a lot of times, unfortunately,
where did they get the money to buy that too? Like, where'd they get funding, right?
We're taxed on everything we buy, and then we get taxed again for owning it. So, and you've got millions of people in this country paying all those taxes all the time. Yeah, they got money. But my problem is with the Native American side of this is that most of the time they don't get asked. They get voluntold, right? They get told that you're going to do this. And whether it goes against the treaties that they've signed with these tribes, they still break those treaties even today. And so, yeah, it happens. It still happens. And that's the problem with a lot of this kind of stuff. So,
it's crazy because I thought once, the United States were formed, and I always thought it was we the people.
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be. It's not. See, when we started allowing citizens to vote, see, way back when we first had the Constitution, if you didn't have a stake in the country, if you didn't own property, if you didn't have a business, if you don't own something in America that you have a stake in America, you did not get to vote. Right? It didn't matter what you were. You could not vote if you didn't own something, because
it didn't have the money. If you didn't have the money too, right? You had to have some kind of money.
Well, if you don't own something, right? You don't own anything.
Yeah.
Then when you go to vote, you're voting for this guy because he's saying he's going to give me money, or he's going to do this, or you don't have a stake in the game.
No.
And most people nowadays don't care.
Don't have a stake in the game.
They don't care. They don't do their research. They don't look up these candidates and actually see who these people really are.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do anything anymore because we, the people, don't care. And we're so divided again. Like I was saying, we're so divided against all these other things that they divide us on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. We're so divided because of these things that we can't get together for a minute to have even an honest conversation about something. So we, the people, they have broken we, the people, where our checks and balances, they broke that, and they broke it a long time ago.
Also, if you promise something, right? They said, "Oh, you're gonna give me money, right?" So, yeah, most definitely, I'm gonna vote for you, right? Yeah, like you got something that I want, right? So that's why I'm gonna vote for you, because you're gonna help me. You're gonna make me rich, right?
Yep.
And
that's bullshit.
I'm just trying to figure all this out, because to me it seems like there's a straight line to it. It just, everything points back to somebody. And I'm just trying to figure out who that person is, because whoever that person is has more power than the president, than the damn the Vatican.
Mhm.
This person has more, and it's probably just an average bear that goes home to his family, eat to the table just like everybody else. But
The thing,
when he goes back to work, he put his suit on, put his black jacket on, put his black shoes on. You guys see where I'm going with this, and heads back to the office.
yep, yep. The problem is that whatever's behind the scheme of everything uh, runs a long game. It's not a short game. They're looking 100 years, 200 years down the line, and they're making small moves at a time. It's almost a game of chess.
Mm.
And in order to play, you've got to see 5 moves ahead, 6 moves ahead. You got to understand how the pieces can move and where you could get to, right? You got to understand the space and time that you're in. And then you've got to do something that, again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but you got to divide the people, because if people are together, they're strong. You divide the people, and then half of your work's already done for you.
Yeah.
You can go out and you could do anything that you want, right? Like, how many times have you heard people talk about these breakaway civilizations that's happened? Ever since World War II, you've heard about these breakaway civilizations that were here. The Nazis were supposed to have a breakaway civilization in the Antarctic because they met the Pleiadians or whoever it was that was in the Antarctic or whatever, right? And now they're supposed to live on the moon and stuff,
Yeah.
and be a breakaway civilization. They talk about, supposedly, the late great Art Bell had some people on that were part of, I forgot exactly what it was called, but it was a space agency that was American, not Space Force now, but it was called something else before, and they would supposedly go off planet and live and do things, and then at the end of their term, they would come back and become part of society again. If these things are true, then we may be living in a time where we have two civilizations that are existing at this very moment. And then you would think, is that other civilization, that more advanced civilization that decided to leave this planet, are they the ones that's calling all the shots for all of us that are stuck here in limbo, not knowing any difference, and still doing the 9 to 5 every day?
Do you think they're living underneath the ocean? In the
Oh,
ocean under
absolutely.
do you think
During World War II, all the countries in the world were starting to map the bottoms of the oceans.
yeah.
When World War II happened, America was like, no more mapping the oceans. And
Yeah.
no one has still started mapping the oceans again today.
Yeah. Do you think that's part of the Devil's Triangle?
I think it's very possibly, and I think that, you have the Devil's Triangle there, where you're at, and then here you
Mm-hmm.
have the Bermuda Triangle.
Yeah.
They also talk about the Alaskan Triangle, and I think that these are some, vortexes of power or something, where these beings
Funny,
decide.
certain times of the year when fishing vessels go unmanned and there's no log, no nothing. And I think it's sometimes in July, right after the rainy season. We have the rainy season till the 20th of July, I think. And right after the rainy season, there's police are always pulling in ships of fishing vessels off the sea of off northern Japan, and there's nothing in it. No crew, no log, no captain, no nothing. It's an empty vessel,
Mhm.
and it's
Ghost
like,
ship.
yeah, it's once a year
Mhm.
after every time after the rainy season it happens. They don't know why. They're not talking.
Yeah, because they know.
Yep.
That's what it is. You know, we part of that same thought process that we had on the future seeding the past. We thought was thinking along
Hey,
the same.
I'll be right back.
Okay.
We was thinking along that same timeline that you take missing airplanes, you know, flight 19, that whole army in World War II, you know, flight that just disappeared. And then the plane that went after them to try to find them also disappeared with a crew of 9, right?
Mhm.
All these ships that have completely just disappeared throughout time and they're gone, right? They've never found wreckage or anything most of the time of these things. Part of that same present seeding the past for me is the fact that I think pretty much all, you know, ships captains and airplane pilots have to know how to navigate by the stars. If they lose all their instruments, they have to know how to navigate by the stars. If you can't navigate by the stars, then you're dead in the water, right? So, but what's one thing that all ancient cultures knew, sometimes even better than they ever should have known? That's the heavens. That's the stars.
Navigate by the stars.
Yes. So, you know, we propose in what we talk about in this, what if we know that wormholes are possible? Science says that they're possible. Science also says that anything that we could create, the universe can do on its own. It doesn't need us. Right? And so there's a good possibility that wormholes just may open up on their own, just at places. And some of these may be in these hotspot places where you have the Bermuda Triangle and the Alaskan Triangle and all these different places. What if, I want to sound like an ancient alien theorist now, but what if, you know, these things open up, these things come into the past, and maybe that's how you get these thunderbirds that these Native Americans talk about, these iron feathered birds that fly over, make this awful roaring sound, right? It sounds like an airplane to me. But then you get all across the world this almost seeding of knowledge. And that seeding of knowledge is the knowledge of the stars, the knowledge of how the planets move, the knowledge of how the sun moves, the knowledge of how to tell the months and the days and the years and all of these things that we know would take thousands of years to understand. What if some of that is the knowledge gained by these people that had, you know, traveled back?
Do you think that they have taught certain people?
I think that, I mean, if you lived, you know, back in the Stone Age and these people came from the sky and maybe they parachuted or something, right? But they fell from the sky. These guys fall from the sky. They would be worshiped. I think they would be worshiped. I think they would be gods. And then I think that these people would be wondering, where the heck am I? And how can I get back home? And them searching in the stars to try to find out where they are and all of that would lead to these people doing it also to worship this person, right? So they would take that knowledge and worship that person. And I don't know, you know, it's a thought process.
Yeah.
Yeah, it all goes back.
The thing is that we always have to keep an open mind about everything, right?
Right.
And always learn new techniques and learn about something that you don't know and have an open mind about things and always want to keep your vision this way and not this way. Yeah.
Yep.
I think
Guys,
it's really interesting.
Pretty interesting. Guys, we're going to change the subject a little bit and we're going to talk about cryptids. You know, is it possible? And I'm just throwing it out there. Most of the country, most of this world, there's most things in Tennessee. There are places in Tennessee where no man has touched yet. You go up in those mountains, and there's land where you wouldn't find anything that can say, "Hey, there's people here," because it's untouched by man.
Yep.
Now, is that possible where you can find something that a man has never seen before and be called a cryptid?
Yep.
Because we all know new things are being discovered every day.
Yep.
You know what I'm
Well, the
saying?
Native Americans, Cherokee Indians talked about a lot of things up in the the mountains of the Smoky Mountains and the Cherokee Nation areas. From they went from North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and here in East Tennessee was the biggest parts of their land that they had, and they talked about everything from giants to Bigfoot to little people. The moon-eyed people. They talked about great serpents, horned serpents, and all. They had all kinds of different things, and so, yeah, I think that anything's possible. Anything.
We got a lot of them here. we got nothing but cryptids here. Gee.
I can't help but think, when people talk about cryptids, I tell you what, if I seen a cryptid, the first thing I'm doing is pulling out a phone, or because naturally you're gonna have a phone in your hand. You're gonna take a picture of it.
It'd be blurry.
Take a picture of it.
Yeah. I've seen a Bigfoot. I have seen a Bigfoot.
I'm just trying to figure out why come none of these things have actually been photographed. None of these things have actually been discovered and not put on the animal. I can say the prehistoric table.
Right.
It's weird. Is this going back to only, like you said earlier? This is something that we only need to know.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I mean, is it more possible that the government probably knows about some of these things? I mean, honestly, Jason and I talk about this a bunch, but I believe that they do. Don't they, Jason?
Yeah, especially when you got incidents like Mount St. Helens when it erupted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Supposedly the military came in and helped a few Sasquatch out by, and plus they carried their dead out too for them. So with helicopters, and that we have heard witness statements from military personnel about that,
and one of those personnel even said that that they brought in a Native American that could talk to one of these things.
Yeah.
And it actually showed them where others were, so they could try to dig them out and help them. So, yeah.
That's
there's one thing about it is that scientists don't fund these cryptids. It's a part of science, right? But they don't want to have anything to do with it. We have our own Bigfoot. It's called a Hibigon, and it's found in the mountains of Hiroshima. They said after the atomic bomb, they said it could have interacted with their DNA process, right? So they don't know what happened to them afterwards. But nobody wants to study them. Nobody wants to come to the mountains here. Nobody wants to fund it. So it remains the way it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like duh. And nobody even wants to even talk about it on any paranormal show. It's just the way that it is, and it's supposed to be smaller than the regular average Bigfoot in America. They're supposed to be juveniles, but they just don't want to even recognize it. And neither does the government here either. They don't want to talk about that either, no more than they don't want to talk about paranormal. So it becomes one of the secrets, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think me and David, we come to like an agreement that paranormal means anything not normal.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that could be the cryptids, that could be spirits,
Yeah.
UFOs.
That could be
UFOs,
me.
any
That
kind
could
of
be that
cryptid.
could be me. That could be you. That could be
Yeah.
anybody on the panel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything unknown is a paranormal.
I
Yeah.
think
And
Or
all the
anything.
go ahead.
Go ahead,
not
Dave.
normal.
Go ahead.
I
No, I
think
mean,
anything that's in that circle is all linked together somehow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether
One
it be
thing I
through
want you guys
dimensions or
I want you guys to look up the tiki tiki.
tiki tiki.
okay.
I know what it does. I know what it is. It was a man who was jealous and he had a girlfriend. He tied her up on the train tracks. She died. She became as a cryptid. She steals people from their homes if you live near the train tracks, and she kills them in her own way. That's our cryptid here.
Wow.
It's yeah, it's scary, and she walks on all fours.
Oh,
Hmm.
wow. That's interesting. We talk about the Native American legends, and the Cherokee have one of the Raven Mocker, and the
Yeah.
Raven Mocker. What the Raven Mocker does is she, well, I say she, but it could be a male or a female. But on the hierarchy of witches, they're at the top,
Yeah.
and they actually could live forever practically, and they
Yeah.
get sick and dying people, and they kill them, and they
Yeah.
consume the leftover years. And so these things can live, for practically forever.
Yeah.
It's about like the Wraith
Mm.
on Stargate Atlantis.
Yeah. There's a lot of weird things.
Yep.
I think that's why we lock our windows and doors at night. I think that's why we have shutters on outdoor shutters, so we can keep our everything inside and anything outside stays outside. I think that's why they made shutters in this country. I mean, you have people close their windows and that's it, but we've got outdoor shutters that go right to the bottom of the window and nothing can enter it, and it's made out of metal. I think that's why they made that here.
If it's made out of iron, that'll stop
Yeah,
stay.
so it's really weird. There's a lot of weird creatures that some of them are really scary.
A lot of people too will tell you that, oh, those are just old stories to keep the kids out of the woods, to do this, do that, to be good. But there's a grain of truth in
Yeah,
everything.
and you know what? The more older the people are, the more knowledge they have, and the more urban we call them urban legends, okay? But a lot of it, 90% of it is real. We have a kappa, the half man, half turtle. They still live with the clean waters in the rivers. They got all kinds of crazy things, and like I can't name them all because I only know about what 60% of them, right? And
Is that the Ninja Turtle?
yeah, it's like that. It looks like that. They have a thing on their head and they have a thing on their back, right?
Yeah.
And they're half man, half beast, and they're still seen to this day if you live way out in the countryside and near the stream.
Hmm.
So, yeah, and they have children too.
Interesting.
They have
Yeah.
children too, and yeah, it's just okay. Like people say, you're nuts. I go, no, I'm not. Aren't you afraid to live in this country? No, because I know my paranormal, right? I know what I do, and I know what I can see, and I know what there is, and they said, "Well, aren't you afraid?" Afraid? I go, no. Like, like, why should I be, right? It-
We
Guys, yeah, that's crazy. Got a couple more questions, and we're gonna get you guys out of here. The one thing that can't understand is allegedly there's all these different races of aliens that are here and that are visiting this planet, but is the Anunnaki so well off? They are so past every other race that's here now that there's no reason for them to come back. Because if they have, wouldn't you think that they would be in the group of uh, of aliens that we would know of? I mean, because we got the Nordics, we got the Greys, we got the reptilians, but it doesn't say anything about Anunnaki. It doesn't say anything about any of those guys.
Right. What's funny though is that we were made in their image. Right? We know that from their writings. And so we know that whoever the Anunnaki are, obviously they were supposedly giants, but they look like us, or we look like them, I guess is what you'd say. So, I'm not psychic by any means, but I do get a lot of feelings and stuff when I go places and things like that. Have you ever been somewhere and saw somebody that was they just didn't belong? You didn't feel like they belonged, not to say they were alien, right? But it just felt like
different.
Yeah, that person's just, you're not from here. You're not from here. And I really do believe they walk among us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they ever left. I don't think all of them ever left. I think some of them decided.
Do you think in time they're going to come back, or do you think they're going to stay away?
They said that they was going to come back. Yep. But it was a 36,000 year revolution. So,
the Hopi had that legend, the ant people.
Yep. According to the Hopi, this is our fourth time that we're living in the fourth age right now. And the last age was destroyed, and the ant people took them underground until it was okay for them to come back up. And then the ant people brought them back to the surface world when it was okay for them to come back.
Yeah. Interesting. Now, did they die? I know they didn't die because of the flood. I mean, there had to been a war at one point for them to go underground, because that's the only way you can survive a nuclear war.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
the Hindus, the Indians, the Indonesia, with the Vedic text and the things like that, they talked about a nuclear war or a war between worlds, I guess.
Yep.
And some of their sites over there has remnants of some kind of nuclear explosions.
Fallout, right?
Yep.
I think they're watching us too, to make sure we're not doing something stupid. Like, man is the most dumbest.
Well, we're their children
in the whole wide world, right? And we do dumb things.
Yeah. What does children do?
Right. They stick their finger in the light socket.
I can tell you many things what my children do.
But you don't learn, right? This is the thing about being a child, though. You don't know until you know, right? Yep. So until you stick that finger in that light socket, until you get run over by something, till something happens to you, fall off a second story of a house on a ladder. It happened to me. Until these things happen, you learn, right? Okay, maybe I shouldn't have used this crummy little ladder, and I should have got my big heavy ladder out and done this the right way, but I was in a hurry, right? So, but we do things because we're always in a hurry, but we're young. But the only way to learn is by doing. You don't learn unless you do. And so a good parent sits back and says, "Hey, you know what? Go ahead, stick your finger in the light socket. Tell me how you feel afterwards."
Let me get some life insurance on you first.
I already tell me that all the time. Guys, one last big question that I have for you guys. Now, the periodic table.
Mhm.
Why did somebody decide to put element 111 in that and not know? And they knew because there really has not been any induction into those, into that until 111 just came along recently. Why do you think? And if this is the element that allegedly that can lift a UFO and can give it power, why do you think they would put something like that into into the table?
Well, I mean, you have to go all the way back to the 1980s.
Oh, let me say something first, David.
Mhm.
I think it's element 115, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was 111. It might be 115.
Yeah, it's 115.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It's a-
I'm just want to make that
Well,
clear.
who brought that element out? Who talked about it
Bob
first?
Lazar.
That's right.
Bob
So
Lazar.
we got to go back to the 80s, right? Bob Lazar is the first person to start talking about element 115, what it was, what it does. It came in these little, shapes like a pyramid, like a triangle, and that they were really heavy, and that they, was able to bend space time, and these things. That's what they did, right? They worked by allowing this machine to levitate and do all the stuff that it did. But the government, when they started trying to destroy his life, I mean, they done a pretty good job of it too. But when they went and started destroying his life and saying, "Oh, you're just a kook, you never worked here," which later on we found out that he did, right? We found out that that all these things that he said over time have finally coming out. Well, what was it? 5, 6 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that. They finally put element 115 on the periodic tables. And it's like, okay, so now you have to stop and say either Bob Lazar is a fortune teller,
Right.
or he knows exactly what he's talking about. And it's funny too, because, after he started talking and everything at the beginning of it, when it all started, really happening for him, he made a mistake one time of saying that he had some element 115. Now, this is something that didn't exist according to the government. He had stable forms of element 115 that he had at home that he was doing studies with. Now, the supposed element that didn't exist, but you had multiple 3-letter agencies the next day come to his place serving warrants looking for an element that supposedly doesn't even exist.
Wow.
And and he talks about, like, when he had his last one with Jeremy Corbell and was talking to him about doing that, that whole interview with him and everything, and doing that movie, the same thing happened again. And he actually got it on video, where these 3-letter agencies again come into his business, his place of work, where he has his own business, and was looking again for element 115, a stable form of that element 115 that he said he had. So, our government put element 115 on the periodic tables because supposedly in Russia or something like that, they was able to pull up an unstable version that was only good for 3 seconds, and then it disappeared. They didn't have a stable form of the isotope. But Rob Lazar says, well, that's BS. He says, we have a stable version of that isotope. He goes, every isotope has a stable and an unstable version. So, but yeah. I think it's just when they did that, they're confirming more and more and more what that man said and what they put him through.
Yeah, it just made him credible. I mean, everything that they did that made him, people just, he's a true believer that this guy did what he did. He said what he said, and he saw what he saw.
Yep.
There's no ifs and buts or anything about it. And I still think the government watches him. I still think, still watching around his corner, just like everybody else who's mysteriously disappeared or died. For them fearing that they're going to put out something. I still don't know what happened to that guy that was allegedly hung himself and threw himself out the window at the same time. I mean, and the guy that got hit
How
by
many
the
times can
car.
you kill a person, right?
Yeah, that what's funny about that stuff is I think the only thing that saved Bob Lazar from that same fate, the only thing that saved him was him coming forward and coming out and becoming a public face. Because if he would have stayed in the background and didn't say nothing, but he was a talking head, right? They would have done the same thing. They'd have unalived
Yeah,
him,
I mean,
and one way or
and
another,
I don't
he
understand it. He should have been. I mean, if he was a whistleblower at that point, he was the first whistleblower, allegedly. I
yes.
think,
Because of him, we know Area 51 is real. He's the man that
yeah.
came out and told us Area 51 was real. That's where he worked.
Well, I
Wow.
think what's his name was one of the first whistleblowers because he really didn't like what Project Blue Book was doing. I mean, he wanted to actually show the world a little bit about what was going on, but they were like, "Well, no, we're gonna keep this all a secret, and and you're not gonna tell anybody." So I think,
Project Blue Book, all they wanted was just someone to say, swamp gas. Oh, I can
yeah,
see that it's this or it's that, or it's a
Well,
nice song
that's
for
a
saying,
balloon. That's a weather balloon, right?
right, yeah, weather
you know,
balloon.
and before I get you guys out of here, I still think there is an offspring, and I could be wrong. There is an offspring of Majestic 12. I think these guys are, their kids or somebody that followed them, and they're still doing their dirty work today. And I still think these are the guys that are behind the scene of all of this. Whether I don't know I know it's not called Majestic 12 again. I know it's probably called something else. But I still think these guys are in the loop or always been in the loop since Majestic 12 was created by our world famous Eisenhower, who put all this together.
Yeah, yeah, Majestic 12. They've already tore it apart. How they come out and all the stuff that they said and everything. But it was the same type situation. They were just there to tote the line and to tell a narrative that don't worry, it ain't what you think it is, right? But one thing that I find amazing is there was Project Blue Book ended up with, I think it was 1, 2, 3%, something like that. It was a pretty small percent, but there was a small percent that
Mhm.
they couldn't explain at all. They couldn't explain it by
Right.
any means at all. But I don't think that they ever got into some of the other things that were happening at the time, like during World War II. You had the Foo Fighters. All the pilots talked about the Foo Fighters, these white orbs that would buzz around their planes and sometimes shut their planes off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What were these? What were they? They're trying to say, oh, it's some secret Nazi, whatever. If they had that, they would have won the war. Sorry.
Oh yeah,
They
definitely.
wouldn't. They wouldn't have told anything either, right? And they even said that I was told that Hitler had an encounter with something, and he was really interested in aliens and alien technology and how to win the war and how to defeat the rest of the world. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff going on about certain leaders and somebody that knew something and somebody that knew something else, and it's just coming out now, right? And they didn't want to talk about it either.
Well, I mean, we know for a fact they were
Well,
40, 50 years ahead of us in technology.
mhm.
Every bit of 40 or 50 years. I mean, they had jet airplanes way before we ever did. And that's why when the war was won, us and Russia took all their scientists, right? And we divvied them up, because if it wasn't for us doing that and Project Paperclip, then we wouldn't have had a space agency. NASA would have never been born. Werner von Braun was the name, the main name of why that ever even happened. But it was because they had this technology that for some reason no one else had, and never hear anything from them on how they got this amazing technology.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when they first introduced the bell. I mean, the bell was one of those. I mean, it disappeared. Whatever they did, it disappeared. And from what I heard, some 40 years later, it showed back up in Kecksburg. And guess who was there to put it on the trailer and roll it up out of here? How did they know that is what it was?
Right. Yeah.
Shaped like an acorn.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot going on. I mean, there's too much going. That's too much going on, guys. Tell the world how to get hold of you guys. Come chat with you.
You can connect with us at paranormal411.org. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube for all the latest updates. You can join us live every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Also Saturdays from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Time. You catch us on Subspace Radio and all major podcast platforms. We do have 3 books out: East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore Edition 2. We have a comprehensive guide to paranormal investigations and the Haunted Ledger. They're all available on Amazon, or you could go directly through paranormal411.org and join us.
Yes, man, it has been a pleasure speaking with you guys. I really enjoyed the conversation. And too bad I didn't mention the Bell Witch, man, whether you guys believe that or not.
Absolutely do.
If that really happened to the family, and it's so, I know somebody represents that property. I believe it's the cave where the Bell Witch allegedly lived or something. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, they have the cave because the house doesn't exist anymore, but they have the cave, the property. There is a house on the property and something else too. I forgot, but some really good friends of ours are the ones who run the paranormal investigations there. And so it's, pretty amazing.
Does she have a grave?
No. Kate Batts is who they think it was, but they're not really for sure if that's who it was or not. Some people think that she may have been, some witch that didn't like John Bell, and for whatever reason. But what's funny is that there was a guy that would at some point end up being a president of the United States that supposedly witnessed it all. He took a company of his men.
Interesting. Because I thought the reason why the witch disliked him is because John Bell stole the land from them.
No. See, they come from North America. They come from North Carolina, and then they moved from North Carolina to there in it's just above Nashville, just before you get into Kentucky there, and he purchased that land that was there and started farming it, just like he was doing in North Carolina.
Yeah, and that's where the problem came in at.
Yeah, when he purchased that property. Yeah, when he purchased that property, there's some weird similarities to it because, when you first hear about Skinwalker Ranch, you hear about those first owners that talk about that big giant black dog that came up, and then it tried to grab a calf, and then the guy shot it almost point blank with a rifle, blew a piece of its skin off, but the thing just looked at it and just walked away. Right. something pretty similar happened to them on that property with a big black dog, a huge black dog. And then that was a precursor to, you know, the knocking in the walls and the scratchings and the stuff like that, how it all started before, you know, before she became what we've all heard, you know, of her talking and everything. And there's a whole lore about it. You know, they said that she knew stuff, like she would have conversations with the clergy about Jesus. Like she knew everything about him. She would have conversations with people. She would go into church and say, well, you know why so and so ain't here? And she'd go in there and gossip on them and tell everybody in the church why so and so didn't make it to church that day. Yeah, so like she was pretty powerful, but knowledgeable. And so, you know, she was able to stop carriages in their tracks and not let them go if she didn't want to.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, I would like to meet her and have a long talk with her. I mean, I don't want to be on her bad side, but
yes,
I would definitely like to sit down and have a conversation.
After
well, guys,
it's been John Bell. Yeah, after she killed John Bell, she promised to come back and visit again in 100 years or something like that. And as far as I know, that never happened, but
that we know of.
That we know of, yeah. Yeah, none of his family, you know, John Bell's family still lives in that area. They still own property and all kinds of stuff in that area. So the Bell family isn't dead or died out.
I mean, I can imagine. I mean, I'm pretty sure the movie got it all wrong. But.
Oh yeah, the movie. God, the movie. I was so excited for the movie, and then when I watched it, I was like, man, this ain't. Nope.
Yeah,
it wasn't even close to. It wasn't even close to what the actual.
I heard that the movie was a joke compared to what really was out there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it was. You know, the thing is that it didn't like one of his daughters, and they think it's because who she was. That guy, a certain guy, was courting his daughter, and the spirit did not want her to marry him. And that's why she started messing with the daughter.
Yeah, but I tell you what, dragging that. I've seen the movie when she was drugged up upstairs, and it was oh my god. Yeah. If that really happened, can you imagine a spirit with that much power?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, you know, spirits do have a certain amount of power, right? You know that they do. You know that they can do certain things that we as humans can't. You know that it's 100% energy, and
we give that power.
Yeah, yeah.
If we understand our intentions, if we understand our intentions are 100% of everything, and we can draw these things to us, but we could also make them go away, and it's all intention work. It's all intention work.
Yeah.
Well, that'd be interesting. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys joining us on the show, man. It's been.
Can I talk to them after the show because I have some interesting.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, sure. You guys want to hang around? She's got some information for you guys. Man, I appreciate you guys. Jason, you was a quiet one tonight. David, you know, I appreciate you guys.
Can't get him to shut up.
Well, I know. Well, I know why Jason was. Hey, I've seen that cup go up a couple of times, so I know why he was quiet.
I worked all day too. I got off work at 7:30. So.
Oh, yeah, I just got off of work at 5 myself. I was rushing home to get everything set up. You know, make sure that you guys got the link and everything, and make sure this was good to go. I'm glad I did it because this was a pretty exciting podcast, man. I really appreciate
fun.
You guys.
It was the most really enjoyable podcast about we had. I think it was great, especially with the people who weren't in the norm of the norm. I mean,
it's nice to touch other subjects every once in a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. and I hopefully I was able to do. Hopefully, I was able to change the subject for you guys instead of talking about the same old paranormal. And
Yes.
I know you guys get tired of that. I mean, I get tired of it. But that's why I'm always that guy that likes to think. I gotta change it up every now and then. I mean,
And you get
because
into
if not
trouble
my
too,
guest,
Terry.
huh? If not my guests would get agitated, and they're like, "Man, didn't I just hear this last week?" So I really gotta keep you guys, man. But other than that, man, I really appreciate you guys coming on the show. Sharing a lot of your stories and just a lot of insight on what you guys think that's going on in the world, and I really appreciate it, man. I mean, hopefully we'll be able to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a
I
great
would
time.
love for you guys to meet. Oh man, he worked at Area 51.
Yeah.
Uh, oh God, last name Marshall. I had him on the podcast a couple of weeks ago. Robert Marshall, Robert Eagle Marshall. If you guys ever get a chance, man, please have that guy on your show because he can share light into a lot of stuff. He was a photographer at Area 51, so he's seen a lot, he's done a lot, and he knows a lot. So
He
if
has
you
a lot of
guys ever,
pictures too.
yeah,
He has
yeah,
pictures
he got,
too of certain things.
he, yeah,
Really?
he's got a lot of declassified stuff, and there's a lot of stuff that he can't talk about. But you guys definitely need to get this guy on the show and just talk to him because he is very enlightful. I mean, he knows a lot. He was there
Yeah.
at Area 51, crash and retrieval. I can't tell you how many times he was on a crash and retrieval sightings. I mean, and he's took pictures. That was his job to take pictures, and he's
Hmm.
seen a lot. So, get that guy on your show, man, and he can tell you a lot of things that the government is into.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
You
amazing.
know, yeah. But with that being said, guys, I am gonna call it a night. I wish you guys continued success on your journeys. Whether it's be cryptids, paranormal, ufology, wherever it is, I wish you guys nothing but success. All you guys that are on the platform tonight, appreciate you guys sharing, asking questions and stuff like
Yeah.
that. I really appreciate it. Until then, this is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast, and I'll see you guys next week.
Thank
Peace.
you for
Thank you.
watching. Thank
Thank you,
you again
Terry.
for coming on.
Yes,
Terry.
sir. Be
Thanks,
right back,
Irene.
guys.